Um, what's up, everybody, and welcome back. And it has been quite the amount of time since my guest and I today have had a good old-fashioned chinwag about the challenge. Actually, the last time we would have talked would have been right at the tail end of when All Stars 5 concluded, and we did our awards. But if you follow the challenge at all in the past week or two, you'll know that there's been some developments. The season 41 just publicly got announced for the first time. They dropped the cast and a release date. I believe there was a trailer that just got dropped as well. And if you're in the world of spoilers, you'll know that All Star 6 has been greenlit. So we're here to kind of touch on that, and we've also got a topic for today's video that also kind of coincides with the potential All-Star 6. So with that in mind, sir, welcome back. How are you feeling in general, and how are you feeling about the latest developments within the challenge world?
Well, thank you for having me. I guess you couldn't get anyone else because here I am. And yeah, it's been a while. I think a lot of challenge fans are able to enjoy the down period, and I think we've had just enough time without the show that we're all a little bit eager to get back into the swing of things. And I'll be honest, I'm more excited to hear that they're calling people, they're putting feelers out there for All-Star 6 than I am for Vets versus New Threats. I feel like that cast has a lot of faces that I've seen very recently, and then I don't know most of the New Threats, or any of them really. Granted, some of them come from very familiar sources like Big Brother or Survivor, but I just haven't seen those seasons. But I'm looking at the cast. I don't see a lot of new threats. I don't see a whole lot of competition there, but I could be wrong. So we'll see.
In a nutshell, are you excited for season 41? Tinfoil cap on.
Am I excited for it? Not as excited as I was for season 40.
Yeah,
season 40, I mean, a lot of people complain about season 40 being boring, and it does have stretches of boringness, but I will always defend it, saying it had a banger cast. They got a lot of good names for that season, and I just don't see a lot of people that I'm super excited for on 41.
There is one name I'm excited about. However, I mean, I'm not going to get into the weeds of how this person is going to fare on this upcoming season. I'm just really happy that Rogan is back into the fold, and I hope this opens the door for him to continue doing seasons, because I felt that he was really coming into his own right around that time, War of the Worlds 2 and Total Madness, and he kind of felt like a new villain, like a new messy male. Cause I think the best male cast members are the messy ones, and he kind of did feel like he was gonna serve as one of those like future pieces to the show that was gonna be one of our newer villains that we could build the show around. And then obviously, like, we hadn't seen him since Total Madness. I would say a large part due to maybe some past tweets. If I had to put on my tinfoil cap, just to put it bluntly, that's probably why. But now that we're seeing him again, I mean, after like 5 or 6 years, whatever it was, that's good that we're finally getting him back. So I'm happy to see him back. If I'm being honest, I mean, it's no secret I'm not exactly the hugest fan of the flagship show that much anymore. I covered it a bit for 39, but, it's not something that's appointment viewing for me anymore, unfortunately. But, on the All-Stars front, since we're talking about names and who we could have seen on the cast for season 40, this brings me great joy to say that we actually stand a chance of seeing Dunbar again, folks. This is not a drill. Dunbar is very much so alive and well, and there's a chance we could be seeing him on a future season. I know that makes you very excited as well.
Oh yeah, so I know Challenge Mania got Dunbar on the line, and apparently Dunbar was really close to doing All Stars 1, but he couldn't get his passport for some reason. Don't really know. So the world wasn't ready to see Dunbar again. And hopefully, I think he does have his passport now. He's had 5 years to get it. So let's hope that he has it and he has the time to do All Stars, because all jokes aside, he is a pretty significant name in the challenge world that has not done All Stars. And we need more of those people.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, listen, I think outside of Johnny Bananas and like, him and I would say Dunbar and Nehemiah's I mean, so Nehemiah obviously went on to have pretty important impacts on the first 3 All-Star seasons, Nehemiah. But if you just exclude All-Stars from the equation and just talk about flagship itself, you could make the argument that outside of Johnny Bananas, if Dunbar was on Era 2, he probably would have been the second most, impactful person within the stories of the challenge. Nehemiah was the last black cast member, or black male, or just black cast member, period, to win a challenge, I think. If you don't count Danny McCray.
Yeah. No, I think that there are people who are mixed who have won. I want to say Amber, but
yeah.
male.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Male, I think it is Nehemiah.
If we don't count Danny from World Championships.
Correct.
Or was it Global? I don't know. I'd get mixed up.
Who knows?
Yeah. It might have been the Challenge USA.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Nehemiah was worthy of a spot on Era 2. But I think there are other names on that season that we could have kicked out for Dunbar if Dunbar was able to participate. But
let me ask you just flat out here. Dunbar or Ryan?
On that season?
Yeah, Era 2.
Dunbar.
Dunbar or Brandon?
Probably Dunbar.
Dunbar or Derek Chavez?
That's a little bit trickier. I'd probably
using revisionist. Well, actually, no. Don't use revisionist history. Go in pre season 40 knowledge. Who would you put?
I would probably put Dunbar because we just saw Derek on All Stars 4, but Derek definitely showed an upward trajectory on All Stars 4 that it was like a storyline that was kind of exciting to continue on season 40. So I understand why he was on Era 2. But I like the returns. I like the people I haven't seen for a while. I think MTV needs to be more forgiving of people who want to take breaks, because a break never really... I never really get upset when people take a 1-2 season break.
Me neither.
Unless they're forced to do it.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, look, I have this premonition. Something tells me that I think Dunbar is going to come back for season 6. I mean, I don't know what it is. He just resurfaced, has the passport now. Something just tells me, and I could just be saying this. I'm not going to get into why I'm saying this, but I just think I feel like he's going to resurface. And, this is a little bit of tidbit too, folks, without getting into too much weeds of it. For those that were upset about people from the main show, such as the 12 Dates of Christmas, the Brits coming over for All Stars 5. I think as of right now, and this could be subject to change, I think based off of the current direction that they want to take for 6, I don't think that they're going to be looking to include those people, at least not as of yet. This could change, but based off some intel that I've been hearing, it doesn't look like the first round of calls that those people have been approached yet. So, we could be taking more of a real world road rules-esque approach on this one, is what I'm saying.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll get any viewers who are complaining about that. And that's not even like, that's not to disrespect the 12 Dates of Christmas or whomever else, but like, I feel like the people that were that recent, it's hard for me to really classify them as all stars.
Right. So, I mean, look, if we're talking returns, that probably coincides very well with what we're going to talk about, since we're talking about All Star 6, because we're doing another fantasy casting today, and this one essentially is like an Inferno 4 type of thing. Like, we're doing good guys versus badasses, which, if you know anything about, you know, the term good guy or a bad guy, it's pretty subjective, you know? I mean, if you want to take it back to the year 2007, Johnny Bananas would have been considered a good guy. Danny Jameson is a badass all the way through, no matter how you slice it. I mean, that guy is as bad as it gets, so they definitely nailed that one. But the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, the term could be very subjective, and that's what makes this topic, I think, more fun, because, you know, your interpretation of who a badass might be, they might be, you know, somebody who walks on rays of sunshine in my world. So that's what makes this fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I remember when the Inferno 2 came out, and this is 2005. This is the first season that doesn't have an equal divide of real world and road rules, which is kind of like wild to think about. But people were like, what are these teams? And why is Julie a good guy? That was like the biggest point of contention that I remember, Julie being a good guy, because like the last time we saw her, she kind of tried to murder a woman. But
yeah, that was weird, actually. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Honestly, I would have put like Rachel as a good guy over Julie. But I think they wanted to keep like the mean girls together. I don't really know, but it's subjective, like you said. So I'm a big fan of people being put on teams that aren't inherently obvious to the viewer.
You know what actually sucks though. Actually, since we're on the topic now, we're talking about returns, and this actually coincides with the topic we're talking about. It's a little bittersweet with certain people. How we said about, you know, it's nice on one hand that we're keeping it to road rulers and real worlders, OGs, whatever. Like, but it's a double-edged sword, because, you know, for this specific topic, there's certain good guys that, like, I would like to see back within the challenge sphere, but maybe they might not do it because of the length of filming on the main show. Like somebody like a Joss, right, who might be more inclined to coming back to do a 2 or 3 week challenge versus like a 3-month one. This would have been a perfect opportunity to have him as a good guy, but for the specific nature of this video and like the topic and trying to have continuity here, I tried to keep it to just I kept it to all real worlders and road rulers on my end. Actually, hold on. So no, there's a few Are the One people, like 2, but for the most part, it's just like real worlders and road rulers for me personally. I tried to keep it.
I have one other person, but it's mostly in that realm. I have real world, road rules, fresh meat, a little Are You the One?
Well, I have fresh meat as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at least one fresh meat.
But yeah, we could hop right into this. I mean, you know, if you want me to kick it, so should we go? I guess we'll go with our good people first, like our good guys and our good girls. So if you want me to start, or if you want to take the reins, it's up to you.
Doesn't really matter to me. Do you want me to give like all of the men I have, or do you
yeah? So I guess I will do it. We'll go. We'll either go mine or yours. Good men first, and then, you know. So if I go first, I'll say my good guys. You'll say your good guys. My good girls, your good girls. So if you want me to start, I could do it.
Go for it.
Okay. So for my good guys, I tried to mix in some returnees with some mainstays to kind of just keep it realistic, because I wanted some depth to this. I wanted people who have been on All Stars before to kind of balance the team out, because, if we have a team full of all returnees, it's kind of like unrealistic a little bit to think. And so, we had 7 of each. So for my good guys, I'll tell you my people that are returnees who we've seen already, just, mainstay people. I got Brad as a good guy. I'm a personal bias towards Brad. He's one of my favorite castmates ever, and I just feel like, good leader to have on the team, And then this next guy, total good guy across the board in my eyes, and I think most would agree, and he would be a defending champ. I feel like he deserves the opportunity to defend his title. I got Steve, and then this other guy who really showed just a complete resurgence on his return on All Stars 4, and I got JG as a good guy, which I guess based off his last appearance, he is a good guy. But if you want to go deep into the lore, you could argue he's a bad guy based off I don't know if he cheated on Jenna or whatever, but whatever. I'm just going based off of the last time we saw him. He was a good guy.
Yeah, I feel like he's in the good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got JG, and then from here is where it gets fun. So we got all returnees filling out the rest of the guys here. I got Jamie Banks as a good guy. And since MTV loves putting people with the same names so they could put the initials, I got Jamie Murray making his return, who recently just said, I think Mark Long posted a video of him not too long ago saying he would return and do it. So we got 2 Jamies, and then for the last 2 returns, I mean, it wouldn't be a fantasy casting video without me saying this person. I got Dustin as a good guy.
Very interesting.
Right. And which you could argue he could be a badass, but not
I might do that.
And then the last person, if you were to look up good guy definition in the challenge world, you might see this man's picture. Timmy Beggy.
Oh yeah.
So that is my team. Brad, Jamie Banks, Jamie Murray, Dustin, Timmy Beggy, Steve, and JG. Those are my good guys.
So I only put one of those people on my good guys team, and that was Steve. I also have Adam L coming back because I feel like he's a good guy, and I think that they would want to return him to defend his title.
I think MTV loves him right now. I think he's really... They kind of made him... Frank was probably the first narrator, but I'd say Adam was the second in terms of the narrator for this, guy-wise at least, yeah.
So I do have some people on my team that are debatable, whether they're good guys or bad guys. I think that they're good guys. But 2 people I think no one will argue with is I have Leroy and Mark Long, because Mark Long kind of spearheaded this spinoff. Good guy in my eyes. Then I put Dunbar on the cast. He's a good guy to me. So, and then another guy, I think some people will disagree, but I think he's a good guy, Turbo. He is the one that is not an MTV original that I have on the cast, but he already did All Stars, so he's kind of in the sphere. And I think he's a good guy. I think he is looking to defend Nani. I think that he has his values and he sticks to them. And I mean, he's all about wine me, dine me, 69 me. It's all love. And then the last male I have, because we need the casuals to watch All Stars. And I think that it's time that they would allow him to move teams. I put CT as a good guy. He's definitely the good guy now. He's no longer the badass that they want him to be. He gets like these home turf episodes. We've peeled back the mask. We've seen the inner workings of CT. He's a good guy now.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a strong team too, for sure. I'd be interested to see how I feel like Steve would again be at the bottom of the pecking order in terms of who's being thrown in. Like, I just think all the rest of them would be like pretty well tight knit group that they would actually Dunbar possibly would be at the bottom of the totem pole, but I don't know actually.
Oh,
Like
I think
Dunbar,
he'd be the top. Not really.
yeah, I mean, you could argue that too. Yeah,
But I think he would. I actually do think he would be connected to people like Mark. I
yeah,
think they are friendly after like X is one, and maybe the
right.
duel. So I don't. I think coming into this, he would not be disconnected. And then there's also women that I think he would be connected to.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that are like kind of honorable mentions. Like given like, I mean, you'll see when once I have my badasses, but like, I wouldn't mind Tyree being put on the good guys team just because I would like to see Dunbar and Tyree kind of. Honestly, if we can get an elimination round between them two, like in the year of 2025, 2026, that would do so much for the soul. I mean,
I would like to see them actually have a headbanger because Dunbar throws a lot of shade at Tyree for not doing well in that hall brawl variation wherever they had in Rivals 2.
They would have won if Dunbar tried.
Yeah, but I don't think that Tyree was the issue there. I mean, if there's one thing Tyree has had going for him, it's size.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of cathartic to watch.
His first ever elimination win comes against the guy who fucked him over.
Yeah.
I think
that would be kind of fun.
It would be great.
And of course, I mean, if Tyree's in the elimination, it's probably the first one of the season. So it's a great way to start the season.
So I'll go with my good girls now. And again, I got to preface by saying this is not the most compelling group of people, but from a personality perspective, athletically speaking, they'd be pretty solid, to be honest with you. So it's pretty hard within the challenge world. I feel like even more so for the women to identify like who's good and who's bad to a certain extent, but this is the best that I came up with. Again, not the most compelling group of people from a personality perspective, but I went with something fresh and just like tried to make it competitively speaking fair. I got Ronnie, Janelle, Mallory, who also said she would just come back, Kendall, Avery, Ashley K, and Jenna making her return. Again, this isn't the most entertaining group of people, but I'm just going with the definition here.
I think collectively those girls get 3 confessionals the whole season.
I'm not disagreeing with that one bit.
So I have one of the same as you, and I have Avery on there. Adam and Avery doing another season together, I think, is something that they would probably want to make happen.
Right.
However, I will say I don't disagree with any of the females that you've selected for their placement. Mm-hmm. Although Janelle used to be a badass, but
yeah, now she's a good.
I don't think anyone would really argue that. So I actually think that the females I selected would be kind of interesting to watch, at least some of them, because I have Avery with Adam, I have Cam with Leroy. Mm-hmm. Another girl that I really want to see back, and I think would be on the good guys team, is Heather Cook.
You think she's a good person?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could argue badass, but
I remember on Rivals too, when Naomi's father was in the hospital and Cook was like, go, 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 don't worry about it. And like, we rarely see those like very authentic glimmers of someone's personality. And I think that she's good to the core. So she's on the good guys team for me.
Okay.
The other girls I have are, I put John A on there because they cast her for everything now. She's just, and she's going to be on the good team, and she won. So she won 2 All-Star seasons. And then for the other girls, I have Mandy from Fresh Meat.
It's a good one.
You could kind of argue either way, but
The last time we saw her, though, I would say more good than bad.
Yeah.
She was like quiet and like just kind of like she was wallpaper to an extent on X's one.
Yeah.
Like she was in a new relationship. Apparently, well, she was involved in the Vinny thing, but that was more about Vinny than her.
Yeah, that I don't really think that was her.
Right.
And then the last two girls I have, at least one of them said that she's interested and she would definitely be on the good guys team. Sarah and Susie.
Okay.
Susie is a returning good guy from the Inferno 3, even though she didn't have a lot of fans coming out of it. But I like her.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah, I think, is like the archetype for what MTV would cast as a good girl.
Yeah, that would be a big return too. I could have probably found a more compelling group of women, but whatever. This is the best I came up with. Damn it. So I'll go ahead and talk about my badasses now. All right. So badasses. Again, subjective. I went with Shane, Dunbar, Dario, Frank, which that one's up in the air just because I don't know if Frank will actually come back, but I just felt like if he was willing to, I would like to have him on this team.
He says his return was a one-time thing, but I also think he's the type of person that like isn't a firm no. I feel like his arm could get twisted in one way, but who knows?
Yeah. And then the next three, well, actually, no, one of them is 100% a badass, but like these next two names, you could kind of go back and forth on whether or not they're really a badass or a good guy. But I just put them on the badass team just because like they got into some drama and shit. So I was just like, let's just throw them on the badasses team. I got Thomas again. You know, you could probably say good guy too for him, but like he also did technically like cheat on or whatever, took part in a girl cheating on their boyfriend with or whatever. So like, kind of a badass to an extent. Got into fights with like Bananas and Vince. So I was just like, I'll just go with badass, I suppose.
I was trying so hard to remember what you were referring to, and that's the whole plot of Bloodlines.
Yeah, Abram and Cara Maria. There you go.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that season.
Mm-hmm. And then the next guy I put under badass, but again, you could argue good guy or anti-hero, whatever you want to say. Or maybe he really is the villain of his tragic story. Hunter Barfield. Is he a badass? Is he a good guy? You could definitely make the argument for both. He likes to portray himself as a good guy, but you can really say that he is a bit of a badass.
I think that's a great pick. I didn't put him on my cast, but I should have.
Yeah.
I would say after watching War of the Worlds 1, which is his most recent season, I call him a badass.
Yeah, I agree.
He 100%. Is the reason Turbo uses the phrase pussy chicken. He's the original recipient of that insult.
And then my last name was kind of a shot in the dark. This might be a bit of a controversial one, but I think given what people have came back from, said and done in recent years, and how we've been kind of receptive to people getting second chances and stuff. He recently just did a podcasting kind of venture on mine and then Challenge Manias as well in the last month or so. I put Vinny Fodi on the badasses side. I don't know. I mean, if anybody follows him on social media, he's actually been like training pretty hard and like I feel like it's kind of a fucking mess, like personality-wise. Like he's like kind of delusional about like his abilities, and I feel like that could make some pretty funny television. I don't know. He's kind of a bit of a train wreck to watch. Like I was watching Cutthroat the other day, and he's just kind of fucking funny to fucking watch. So like he lost an elimination to Big Easy, and then he tells him afterwards that he kicked his ass. Like, it's kind of funny. So, yeah, I would probably throw him on the badasses team, but again, I don't know if that'll actually happen. I was just kind of taking a shot in the dark there, but yeah.
You never know. I would be a little bit surprised if he got brought back, but like, he's not the hardest no, in my opinion.
Well, look, the thing is like, and I'm not trying to like minimize or like condone what he did on X's One, but after hearing him break it down and look at the situation in a vacuum, I think that because of what was happening in real time at the time and what had just occurred with the Kenny and Evans situation, that kind of made his thing dead on arrival. Like, it was kind of one of those things like, he would have been reprimanded either way, but because of what just happened with Kenny and Evan and what MTV was dealing with, it was kind of like, you're kind of attached to a malignant tumor, and like, we can't perform the operation on one of you, so we got to kill you all. So like, they were like, look, like, you did something that's kind of similar to what the nightmare that we're dealing with PR wise. We're kind of have to cut you off here.
I'm not gonna like defend what he did, because I would never really encourage anyone to do that type of thing ever, but there are people who have done similar things in the past and have been brought back. So
if you listen to the podcast too, like, apparently they actually weren't even going to kick him off at first, from what it sounds like. He said that Justin Booth and whoever, like, it was, like, first talked to him about, like the situation or whatever, and, like, seemed like he was fine. And then, like, I guess because of what he said in the nomination about, like, oh, I vote for the ugliest couple here, or something like that, about Mandy and Wes, he feels that, like, if he would have just voted in, like, Jasmine and Tyree or something, they would have let him stay. But because of how ugly it looked with, like, doing that and then making the comment and sending Mandy in, which, contradictory, because they still let Mandy and Wes go in anyway. They let them vote them in and still kick them off.
Yeah, they could have been like, oh, Vinny and Sarah are gone, so there's no elimination. But no, they still let Mandy and Wes become the victims of the situation.
Yeah. And again, I'm not minimizing what happened, but based on, like, his recount of the story, it doesn't really seem to me like he was sexually trying to sexually violate somebody. Like, it sounded like they were just, like, I mean, based on what he said, it sounded like they were dancing with each other, and he just kind of was, like, being funny, or what he thought was funny, and he shouldn't have did it, but, like, I feel like, I mean, if you want to call a spade here, Bananas did the same thing to Janelle on his Real World season and didn't get any shit for it, so, and he's the face of the show, so it's kind of like, pick and choose your, consistencies here, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, a huge plot point, and this is many, many years before the Vinny incident happened, but a huge plot point on the Real World Los Angeles is Dave trying to rip the blanket off of Tammy when she was allegedly naked under there, and then they brought them back to talk about it together. So they leaned into that drama, but regardless of what,
and that was after what happened with Kenny and Wes, or Kenny and Evan, obviously. Granted, there was no lawsuit with the network involved, but, like, it's still, like,
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I feel like Mandy should have a level of say here. Because it's whether or not Vinny intended to do anything, the reality is how Mandy felt in the situation is...
I think they asked her if she wanted to send him home, and she said no.
Yeah. I feel like I've heard that too, but on my cast, Mandy, the good girl, gets to have some type of a say.
Okay.
Even though I didn't put Vinny on my cast, so...
Yeah.
He's clear.
I can't believe we had this whole big conversation because of Vinny.
So for my badass men, I was so tempted to put Slapping Steven on there from the Real World Seattle. Who's
from Seattle. Yeah. I thought you meant Slapping Steven from Vegas.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, there are two Slapping Stevens. But
we need Thomas's twin brother to go and slap somebody so we could have the holy trinity of Slapping Stevens.
Yeah. Coral at one point called him slapping Steven at a reunion, so that's just where the nickname came from. But he's kind of like topical because after the Will Smith and Chris Rock slap, Irene, I think, did interviews being like, I was the original slappy.
She just did an interview with John and Beth on their podcast, actually, like a week ago.
Yeah. And like nothing against Irene, but that just kind of like between the debut of All Stars and present day, Steven has become a little bit more relevant, but I didn't put him on my cast because I don't think he would do it, and I don't think they'd want him to do it.
Yeah.
So I actually did have a couple of people overlapping with you, which are Dario and Frank. I think Frank would definitely be a badass, as would his San Diego roommate, Zach, I have on the cast. The other people I put Bananas on there. I don't know if he would actually do All-Stars, but I feel like there are so few people on the challenge currently that are actually badasses. Like, I feel like we are in a very soft era.
Mm-hmm.
But rewatching season 40, Bananas, to his credit, actually took a stand, was actually going after people like Tori and Devin. So I think that he continues his streak as a badass, even though he wasn't a badass on the Inferno 3. I put Dustin as a badass.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I think even though he's a Southern gentleman, he got into a lot of fights in his day. I don't think he's like a true badass out in the real world. But I think he's a badass as far as the show is concerned. I put the messiest competitor in the current era, Tony, as a badass. And, of course, a returning badass from prior seasons. How could you not have him? Danny Jameson.
Honestly, I think your cast, just for the inclusion of both Danny and Dunbar alone, might give Paramount Plus a new lease on life.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I can't understate how popular Danny Jameson actually was in 2006.
He was a megastar.
I mean, they were really pushing him. And
him and Melinda at those bar appearances and speaking engagements, their fees were so much higher than everybody else's.
I saw them. I snuck into a college and I saw them.
Yeah, you talked about this.
Yeah.
And then he talked about how like he wasn't he like talking a bunch of crap about MTV's production and shit.
Well, he said some not so nice things, but in my opinion, he had good reason.
Yeah.
But I will say, Melinda, I met her. I saw her in person. She is the most beautiful person.
Really?
In real life. Oh my God, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll take your word for it. You seem like an honest guy, so.
Maybe. But that is true.
Well, listen, I mean, I don't know if I can do it, but if Challenge Mania can do it, somebody's got to get Danny Jameson on a podcast. It's just got to happen. We got Dunbar, we'll see, but we need to get a Danny Jameson interview in 2025. I just have to know his thoughts on things.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised he hasn't returned to any capacity.
He's so far off the grid, like it's crazy.
At least we do have one lifeline to him through Wes. Yeah, Wes talks to him occasionally.
I don't know if you saw this on Twitter a couple months ago. It's really funny, actually. But so I think I might have been in reaction to one of our things that we did. Somebody took us talking about Danny like so literal, like saying good things about him, that they went on a monologue underneath the tweet of talking about Danny to me saying, yeah, this is the guy who is clamoring for Danny and Dunbar back on the show. If we let him run it, he's going to run this show into the ground about me. And then I respond by, yeah, it's so vain of me to talk about one of the guys who had the best real world arcs in show history. And I included photos of Danny and Melinda from their wedding, Danny on the phone call finding out his mom died, and then him with the thing where he covering his one eye that got hit. I don't know how this devolved into then Alan, Alan Aguirre, the guy who writes the blogs, he reacted to my tweet saying, yes, this is true. MTV pushed Danny so hard, they thought a Boston guy who was on steroids would prove to be the next face of the show. To then Wes seeing Alan's tweet, and they went into this whole big Twitter fight over Wes accusing Alan of defamation of character because he accused Danny of taking steroids. And they were going back and forth for 3 days. And then it sparked that to then people talking about what Wes said on Reddit and Facebook groups. And it all started because somebody called me out saying that I was trying to me and you were trying to run the show into the ground by including Danny and Dunbar in all our fantasy casts. So
all I have to say to that is, do you think Danny is going to run the show into the ground, or do you think the random people from like Iraqi Idol and whatever other show that they have going on are the ones running into the ground? Like, they're casting people that no one knows. At least Danny was certifiably popular at one point in time.
Listen, you people have to remember that Danny legitimately, when this show was meant to be a reality show about documentation and life experiences, the guy was the quintessential spinning image of what the real world's supposed to be about. And I know this might sound foolish to hear now, but like, he legitimately was. If you just look at him in a vacuum and ask people, you can make the argument for him being like a top 5 to 10 real world cast member of all time.
I absolutely would make that argument.
So as foolish as it is to sound, I mean, shit. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe challenge-wise. But like, if you want to make that argument, then you're essentially saying that Trishelle doesn't belong on the challenge because she was more of a real worlder. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
But, so it's kind of like you pick and choose here a little bit. But yeah, that's just really funny to me. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, when I saw this happen, I was laughing for like 2 hours, like 2 hours nonstop. How all this started because one random person said to me, I never really respond to people. For whatever reason, I just felt the need to quote tweet this person, and like, the tweet got attention of me making valid points about Danny's real world contributions and his story arc. To then Alan, for whatever reason, responding to quote tweeting me, saying like, yeah, MTV really thought they hit a gold mine with some Boston guy who probably took steroids on the challenge. And Wes sees this and loses his fucking mind. Like, it was ruthless. I have to send you these because they were legitimately funny.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like a big joke, but I will say this: good for Wes for defending his friend.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Danny can't even defend himself in 2025. He doesn't even use social media and stuff. And
he can defend himself. He doesn't want to. Like, let's not act like he's banned from the internet. He just doesn't want to.
He's got a Facebook, from what I know. I just don't think he lets anybody on it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. Apparently, I mean, Wes and him still communicate. So, who knows? I don't think we'll see him again, but I would hope we could. I don't think it's because of a lack of calls. I just think it's a lack of interest.
Yeah. From what I understand, and this could be years ago, I could be wrong, he has some type of like ownership or management in a roofing company, which is what he did in the real world. Or he worked for prior to being on the real world. So it could just be a business that he's like too invested in to leave. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm like, if you own this thing and you want to do a show, who's going to tell you no? You're the boss.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the best shot of getting him might have been a Real World Homecoming, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm just thinking out loud here because that would have been the shortest amount of time. It would have required no physicality. Um, then again, though, it would have been a guaranteed thing of seeing your ex-wife, technically, whereas like the challenge, if you co-sign and beyond it, there's no guarantee that Melinda's going to be there, although we know they would definitely try like hell to make sure that she would be. But
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the two of them were on a couple episodes of Battle of the Seasons together.
mm-hmm.
It was a very short time that they were together, but I thought it was kind of a good ending for that story, just to see like they're cool, like they're not like clinging on to the past. They don't hold any like, from what I can tell, serious animosity towards each other. It's just something that happened during a moment in their life and fizzled out.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people were like fantasy casting them to be on X's two together. X's, an all star X's. Like, I know nostalgia is obviously a big point in that, but I don't really feel like we're gonna get anything different than what we already saw with them on Battle of the Seasons. Like, I'm not clamoring for them to be like, I wouldn't like complain about it, but I'm also not clamoring to see them together again on an X's. Like, if I saw them on a cast together, I'd be like, oh, that's neat. But I wouldn't like advocate for it. Like, I don't think it's a must.
Well, I don't think it's a must, but and I don't expect them to like go super far if they're together. But if they got them, Danny and Melinda, for an X's theme, I'd be like, you nailed it. Like, because everyone knows that they're X's, that they were together. Like, that is a big storyline that you are reigniting.
Mm-hmm. Real World Homecoming would have been a good. Call me crazy. I think Johanna would have been harder to convince than Danny.
Oh, I think, yeah. She has said no. Danny has said nothing that we know of.
Yeah. I think maybe Danny could have been convinced, honestly, by Wes or somebody.
Yeah.
Would you have liked to see a Real World Austin Homecoming? Like, do you think that would have been good, or do you think it's overrated?
I think it's overrated. I think that they're friends.
You want to know what's even more overrated? That people are like, oh, yeah, we should have got this. The most overrated Real World Homecoming myth of all time is Real World Key West.
Yeah,
but people just want to see Svetlana. I mean, I guess Paula too, but like, it'd be nice to see Paula talk about her, bout with anorexia and like talk about how she sobered up and like changed her life for the better and whatnot. Like, that would be kind of interesting to hear. And like to see Svetlana's presence again would be interesting. But like past that, like is there really like Bananas, Tyler, Janelle? We've seen them all recently. Like,
yeah.
Jose. Yeah, that'd been great.
I agree with you. I love Paula. I love watching her success from the sidelines, but I don't think she wants to do it. And
yeah,
she's kind of like she is the story that is untold that people want to see, I feel like. And I don't think she wants to do it. Like Svetlana, people want to see, but I don't think people want to see like a continuation of Svetlana from the Real World Key West. They don't want to like know what she's up to necessarily, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Svetlana, they just want to see her presence, which, folks, listen, I don't see it happening. I'm sorry, I just never see that happening. I don't know what the hell happened with All Stars 2, where, like, she got revealed, which, again, that's also crazy to think that was 4 years ago. 4 summers ago is when they were doing the whole All Stars 2 departure date reveal. That's crazy that was that long ago. I can't even believe that. But
yeah, from what I heard, they were like on the bus. I think it might have been on your podcast that someone said on the bus, yeah. And they were like, "Where's Svetlana?" And then Jasmine walks.
They were looking at the spoilers.
Yeah,
they were looking at the spoilers of like who was showing up. Like Janelle said that she got on the bus and was like looking for Svetlana. Was she actually supposed to be there, or like was this just a like I don't know how that happened.
I don't think so.
Like I don't know how this stuff happens.
I mean, I don't think that people are like maliciously spreading the wrong rumors. I think that they get information and it gets misconstrued. It's like a broken game of telephone. Like the spoiler teams are like 90% accurate on departure day. By the time that the show is over, they have everything 100%. Like they're not trying to like dick around here and like just give us false information. But I do think that there are times where information is incorrectly assumed, or we get information that just kind of like sends us down the wrong path.
Well, do you remember during the departure for Double Agents when Mikey P when I started that rumor and it took fire?
Yeah, thanks for that.
he had to publicly address that he wasn't on the show. Oh my god, that was so funny. Was that just you that put that out, or did Gamer put that out too?
I think it was just me.
Oh, okay.
Because you told me to. And I was like, I don't know if I really trust this, but there are a couple gaps here, so why not?
Well, because didn't they say somebody with the name Mike or something was like in discussions or...
Yeah, I mean, there are so many random-ass people on that cast. Who knows?
I wonder if Mikey P's ever been called for a challenge.
He was called for an MTV show.
Yeah, the tattoo one, right?
No, he was on this show called From G's to Gents.
Oh, yeah. But didn't he go on the tattoo show with Kayla?
I think so.
That's an MTV show.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, how far is Tattoo Far?
Yeah.
And the Cara and Paulie were on that too, yeah.
Tony.
Who?
Tony and his wife, Alyssa.
They were on that too?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
The funny thing is, I think the tattoo that Alyssa got is like Tony asking to have another kid. And believe it or not, they never did. Tony never had another kid, at least not yet, with Alyssa.
Well, suppose it's not too late, right? I wish they would also dive into the real world lore, like the rabbit hole of like real worlders who never got to do it. Oh shit! Wait a second. I just realized we never did our girls.
No, we didn't.
Our badass girl. What the hell? We got off such. We were talking about Danny Jameson, and we just went on a fucking.
It just happened.
We went down a. All right, we'll do our girls quick because, wow, that was crazy. Okay, so I'll do my girls here. I got Ashley Mitchell, Amanda, because it'd put all the Lavenders on the same team. I want to give Amanda and Ashley numbers for a change, so we'll go Ashley. Yeah, and Hunter. Yeah, depends on what happens here. We got Ashley Mitchell, Amanda, Beth. I mean, yeah, I feel like you can't have a badass without Beth, but whatever. I got Jen G. I don't know what her status would look like with the pregnancy and whatever. And believe it or not, at one point or another, I had Simone on this as an out of nowhere return, but I decided to drop her. Because, yeah, I just decided to drop her, and I decided to put Kayla on as a badass because, like, I don't know, I had Jenna and the good girl, so I was just interested in seeing, like, how that would work with having Kayla on the other side. Mm-hmm. So I put Kayla as a badass. And then these next two are more returnees as well. I got Latoya on the badasses side as an out-of-nowhere return. And then this last one I feel like is a real wild card, but she's expressed interest in returning. I got Brianna from the Real World Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, there's someone at my door.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem.
Well, I will do my girls really fast. And
okay.
I have Amanda, Ashley, Beth, and Genji. So we have 4 overlaps.
4 in a row.
Then I have Nicole Zanaya and Veronica,
Okay.
the OG badass. And then the final one I have is someone who has shown interest, and that is Coral. Because Mark reached out to Coral.
Yeah, I remember that. Alrighty. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode, and until next time, I'll see you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep.